The alien fleet thought the human was just there for morale support. By the time they realized he was smiling at their funeral, the stars outside were already vanishing. The first thing Commander Trask noticed about the human was his coffee. Not the smell, though that was strange enough, sharp and bitter in the recycled air, but the ritual. Every morning, same seat, same chipped mug, same quiet hum under his breath, like the universe was politely waiting for him to finish before starting its day. Trask, captain of the Croth Dominion's escort cruisers Rith, had met humans before. Merchants, diplomats, the occasional scout. But this one? He was here because Earth had asked. That alone made the bridge crew uneasy. Lieutenant Kivin clicked his mandibles. Sir, why is he even here? The Dominion does not need human assistance. Our star maps already cover every vector. Not every vector, Trask replied. He glanced toward the human's table. The man, slim, pale, wearing a jacket far too light for a ship kept at standard Croth chill, was reading an actual paperbook. They insisted he ride along as an observer. Kivin's antennae twitched. Observer? Or spy? Probably both. The mess hall fell quiet when the human looked up. Not in a threatening way, he smiled. Warm. Approachable. Like a shopkeeper asking if you'd found everything you were looking for. It made the younger crew shift uncomfortably. Morning, he said. No rank, no formality, just that lazy, unmistakable Earth accent. Mind if I join you? Trask motioned to the seat. Mr. Cole, the man replied, sliding in. Elias Cole. I'm told you're off to the Orion Spur. Yes. Patrol, Trask said. The Dominion takes threats to its borders seriously. Cole nodded slowly, sipping his coffee. Threats, yes. Always tricky things. Sometimes they're obvious, sometimes they're less so. Kivin's claws tapped the table. We've seen the reports. Your planet has had its share of incidents. But the fleet we're tracking is small. Barely worth. Cole tilted his head. You're tracking them? The question hung in the air like a loaded plasma cell. Kivin bristled. Of course. Our scanners. Scanners won't matter once they jump, Cole said softly. You won't find them on any map. The lieutenant's frill flared. Nonsense. Every star in this region is catalogued? Sure. Cole set his mug down gently. But you're still thinking two-dimensionally. They're not. Trask studied him. You speak as if you've met them. Cole smiled faintly. No. But they've met us. An hour later, Cole was on the bridge, standing behind the captain's chair like he'd been invited. He hadn't been. He didn't seem to care. The starfield rolled past on the view screens, a glittering sea of points and coordinates. The Dominion fleet moved with military precision. 2 dreadnoughts, for cruisers, a web of escorts. Their target, an unidentified formation that had fired a warning volley at Earth's outer defense buoys. Cole scanned the readouts without touching a thing. You've got good formation discipline, he said. Clean lines, predictable response patterns. Predictable, Kivin hissed. We are precise. That is how a fleet operates. Exactly, Cole murmured. The first contact came sooner than expected. A blip on the tactical screen, then 3 more. The alien ships were ugly, angular hulls bristling with sensor foils, like they'd been designed by someone who'd only ever heard of stealth. They're hailing, comms reported. A harsh, metallic voice filled the bridge. Croth vessels. Your human allies have provoked us. Leave the Terran behind, and you may continue unmolested. Trask's frill flattened. Unmolested? We are not your prey. Cole stepped closer to the comm station. This is Elias Cole of Earth. I'd be happy to come aboard so we can talk. Every eye on the bridge turned to him. Trask hissed, That is not. But the enemy cut in with a dry laugh. You will come unarmed? Oh, I'll bring my coffee, Cole replied. Never negotiate on an empty stomach. They didn't take him. They fired. The first salvo hammered the Zritha's forward shields, jolting the crew. Return fire lit the void, but the enemy was slippery, darting between mapped lanes like they knew where the Dominion would move next. They've studied us, Trask realized aloud. Yup, Cole said calmly, hands clasped behind his back. They're testing your doctrine, waiting for you to commit. Thing is, if they're here for Earth, they've already committed. Kivin snapped. Then what do you suggest, human? Cole's voice stayed mild. Open channel. Tell them we surrender. The bridge erupted in protest. Trask snarled. Explain yourself before I have you removed. Cole met his eyes. They think they're hunting prey. Hunters commit mistakes when they believe the kill is certain. We just need them closer. Reluctantly, Trask gave the order. The fleet slowed. The enemy tightened formation, closing the net. Cole leaned over the navigation officer's console. Vector 14-7. No, not to them, to that. See it? The dark patch just above Beta Cygni. The officer frowned. There's nothing there. Exactly. When the Croth fleet pivoted, the enemy followed, eager, confident. Then the dark patch rippled. Stars vanished as if swallowed. A shape emerged, so vast it blocked half the view screen. It was a ship, but no registry, no markings, no signal. Just the dull gleam of armor plates and the slow rotation of massive weapon pods. Kivin's mandibles clicked. What is that? Cole's smile didn't reach his eyes. That's ours. The enemy hesitated too late. From the shadow of the uncharted Colossus, beams of coherent light flared, slicing through their lead ships before they could scatter. Their formation broke, and panic filled the comms. Cole didn't gloat. He just sipped his coffee. Trask stared at the unfolding carnage. You set this up. Not me, Cole said. Earth did. I'm just here to make sure you're pointed in the right direction when the curtain drops. Kivin's voice was barely a whisper. What happens to them now? Cole glanced at the screen, where the last of the enemy ships was vanishing in bursts of fire. Now, they go home, if they can find it. Which they won't. When the battlefield fell silent, Trask turned to him. Why didn't you warn us? Cole looked thoughtful. You didn't need warning. You needed proof. Earth doesn't start fights, Captain, but we end them. Thoroughly. Kivin's antennae trembled. Where did that ship come from? It's not in any records. Cole chuckled. You don't put something like that in records. You keep it where it belongs, off the map. As the Croth fleet resumed course, the bridge crew avoided Cole's gaze. The human returned to his seat in the mess hall, opened his book, and hummed quietly. Outside, in the silent void, there was a new patch of darkness where stars had once been. No one, not even the Dominion, would ever chart it again. The alien war council chamber was a perfect circle of polished obsidian, designed to intimidate visitors with its sterile grandeur. It was quiet, too quiet, except for the low hum of the energy shields running along the walls. A dozen alien representatives sat around the table, each radiating some degree of arrogance, suspicion, or boredom. Captain Rin, a tall, emerald-scaled Threxian, tapped a claw on the table. Bring in the human. The doors slid open with a hiss. Commander Elias Ward walked in like he'd just strolled out of a cozy coffee shop. Dark suit, crisp tie, hands loosely clasped behind his back. Not a weapon in sight. He looked like the kind of man who could ask you for the time and somehow leave you wondering if you owed him money. Gentlemen, ladies, and honored gelatinous entities, Elias greeted, offering a courteous bow toward the Jelavar ambassador, whose transparent dome body rippled in acknowledgement. I understand you wanted to discuss misunderstandings. The air thickened. The Troll representative, a squat figure with jagged teeth, leaned forward. You destroyed our recon fleet. Elias's expression softened. Fleet? Oh. I think you mean the 5 heavily armed warships that tried to inspect Earth's orbital perimeter. We did send a very polite request for them to turn back. Repeatedly. In 3 languages. And with lights. The XYR diplomat hissed, voice like rust scraping steel. You obliterated them in under 3 minutes. Elias shrugged mildly. You say, obliterated. We say, decisively de-escalated. Perspective, you know. A ripple of uneasy murmurs spread around the table. The Jelivar emitted a wet slosh that translated as, How did you detect them so quickly? That, Elias said with a genial smile, is classified. Then, after a beat, he added, but hypothetically, if a civilization had been quietly mapping enemy fleet signatures for years while pretending to be blissfully unaware of galactic politics, they might know things. Rin's tail lashed the floor. This is not the time for human riddles. You trespass on galactic boundaries and... Boundaries. Elias's voice remained perfectly polite, but the edge was there now. Forgive me, Captain, but from where I was standing, it was your fleet in our sky. The Dravonian representative, skeletal and 8-eyed, interjected. We underestimated you. That much is clear. But you must understand Earth's position in this sector. Elias cut him off with a gentle wave. The position is prime, yes. Trade routes, hyperspace choke points, all that good stuff. But we've never threatened anyone. Not until someone fired first. The Troll bared his teeth. And when you strike, you do so without mercy. That is unsettling. Elias smiled faintly. Unsettling is a strong word. Efficient is more accurate. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence wasn't from lack of words, it was the uncomfortable realization that the man in front of them was still holding something back. Finally, the Jelivar ambassador pulsed with color. The destruction of the scouting fleet is a provocation. The other empires will respond. Elias took a slow step forward, his voice quiet but somehow filling the room. If they respond, they will not find the stars they launched from on any map. Again. The chamber temperature seemed to drop. Rin's slit pupils narrowed. Is that a threat? Threat. Elias's tone turned almost puzzled. No, more of a forecast. Like saying, it's going to rain tomorrow. Not my fault if you leave the laundry out. Several of the council members shifted uncomfortably. The human's casual tone was worse than open hostility. It made them feel like prey being studied. The Dravonian leaned in, voice low. You speak as if Earth holds more power than we know. Elias met his many-eyed gaze. Not more power. Just better timing. Before anyone could press him further, a soft chime sounded from Elias's wrist. He glanced down, then back at the council. My time's up. I'll leave you to deliberate. Please, take care when sending fleets toward our skies. We have an unfortunate habit of assuming hostile intent. He turned to leave, and as the doors opened, he paused, just long enough to say, without looking back, Oh, and if any of your ships have been missing since last night, don't bother looking. The coordinates won't help. The doors closed behind him, sealing the council in uneasy silence. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the Troll muttered, I do not like humans. The Jelivar's translator bubbled, like is irrelevant. The question is, how far ahead are they already? Meanwhile, aboard the stealth corvette Grey Spear, Elias stepped into the dimly lit bridge. His XO, a sharp-eyed woman named Marin, looked up from her console. How'd the meeting go? She asked. They're spooked, Elias replied, loosening his tie. Good. They'll be more cautious now. Marin raised a brow. And if they're not? Elias gave a small, cold smile. Then the trap closes faster. He crossed the bridge, studying the holographic projection of the sector. Several alien fleet icons glowed red. How long until the next phase? He asked. 22 hours if they take the bait, Marin said. They will. Elias poured himself a cup of coffee from the bridge dispenser. The trick isn't making them fear us. It's making them believe we've already done more than we have. Marin smirked. Perception warfare? Perception is warfare, Elias replied. And the galaxy is about to realize that humanity's been holding its breath for a very long time, and we're tired of waiting. He took a slow sip, watching the alien fleet markers edge closer to Earth's zone. Let them come, he murmured. The void between the stars looked calm, but the tactical display on Gray Spear's bridge told a different story. Red icons, alien fleet signatures, drifted closer to the Terran defense perimeter. They weren't charging, they were creeping in, trying to look harmless. They think they're subtle, Marin said from her station, eyes scanning the sensor feed. Elias stood with his hands behind his back, gaze fixed on the hologram. Subtlety isn't their strength. But overconfidence? That's practically in their DNA. On the main screen, the lead Threxian cruiser adjusted its vector, sliding along a trade route like it belonged there. 4 Troll destroyers shadowed it, weapons cold. Farther back, 3 Dravonian warships lingered, just outside official sensor range, but close enough to pounce. They're not forming a battle line, Marin noted. Looks like they're waiting for something. They're waiting for us to flinch, Elias said. We won't. 2 sectors away, in the Threxian command vessel Vorax Claw, Captain Rin studied his own tactical screen. Human ships haven't moved, his sensor officer reported. Rin's tail flicked once. They're trying to make us show our hand. Hold formation. Push in slowly. We'll probe their defenses before striking. The Dravonian fleet commander's face appeared on the comm display, his voice a dry rasp. Be careful. This human commander is unnerving. Rin bared his teeth. He's a man with a lucky skirmish, nothing more. The Dravonian's 8 eyes blinked in sequence. I hope you're right. Because if you're wrong, none of us will have time to regret it. On Gray Spear, the alien fleets were now inside the engagement envelope. Marin gave a short nod. All ships in the net are reporting green. Good, Elias said. Initiate Phase 1. The order rippled through hidden channels. Across seemingly empty space, dormant sensor buoys came to life. Microscopic drones that had been drifting for weeks, invisible to alien scanners. They began feeding data into the Terran battle network, tracking every alien vessel with surgical precision. On the surface of Mars, disguised mining stations powered up generators. Buried rail batteries rotated silently under their camouflage shells. The aliens didn't see any of it. 20 minutes later, the first alien ship made its move. A Troll destroyer broke formation, drifting toward what appeared to be an unguarded sector of the Terran perimeter. Marin's eyes narrowed, testing our reaction time. They'll be disappointed, Elias said. Don't touch him. Let him get comfortable. The destroyer kept drifting, edging closer to a blind spot in the defense grid. Then the stars behind it shifted. The Troll crew never heard the Gray Spear uncloak. One moment there was empty space. The next, a matte black corvette was behind them, railguns already spun up. 3 shots. No warning. The destroyer's shields shattered like glass, its engines gone before the crew could scream. The Gray Spear faded back into darkness. On Vorax Claw, alarms blared. What happened to the Tarak? Rin demanded. The sensor officer's crest flattened. It vanished from the board. No warp signature, no debris field, just gone. Rin's claws dug into the armrest. Find that human ship. The Dravonian commander's voice returned, colder this time. I warned you. Elias didn't smile. He didn't need to. Phase 2. Trigger decoys. Out in the black, a swarm of false Terran signatures bloomed. To alien sensors, it looked like dozens of heavy cruisers had appeared across the sector. Some pulsed like active weapons platforms, others moved in complex attack patterns. The alien fleets reacted exactly as Elias had predicted. Chaos on the comm channels, captains pulling ships out of formation to intercept phantoms. Marin watched the chaos unfold. They think we've got 10 times the ships we actually do. Good, Elias said quietly. They'll start making mistakes. The first real strike came from the Dravonians. Their 3 warships fired a coordinated salvo toward one of the weaker Terran positions, a point that, by design, appeared undermanned. But instead of empty space, the missiles slammed into a lattice of kinetic interceptors hidden inside an asteroid belt. The resulting chain reaction turned the belt into a blizzard of hypervelocity fragments, tearing through the Dravonian fleet like it was paper. One ship disintegrated instantly. The other 2 limped backward, hulls bleeding atmosphere. On the gray spear, Marin exhaled. That's going to make the others nervous. They should be, Elias said. We're not even warmed up. The alien coalition's tight coordination began to fracture. The Troll destroyers stuck close to their cruisers now, afraid to scout ahead. The Threxians tightened formation, but that only made them a bigger target. Elias leaned over Marin's station. Feed them just enough movement to think we're pulling back. The Terran fleet symbols began to retreat, slowly, deliberately, drawing the alien forces deeper into the engagement zone. On Vorok's claw, Rin saw the shift. They're falling back, he said, satisfaction in his tone. They're trying to regroup. Press the advantage. The Dravonian commander's voice cut in again. No. This is too clean. They're leading you somewhere. Rin ignored him. All ships, advance. They crossed the invisible threshold without realizing it. The moment the alien fleet entered the kill zone, Elias gave the final order. Phase 3. Close the net. Hidden Terran cruisers powered up behind them. Orbital platforms, silent until now, lit their railguns. From Mars to the asteroid belt, thousands of kinetic projectiles launched simultaneously. The alien fleet's rear guard was erased in seconds. The Threxian cruisers found themselves bracketed by crossfire they couldn't counter. The Troll destroyers tried to scatter, but every direction led into another trap. Mines, stealth drones, or cloaked Terran ships waiting in ambush. Within 8 minutes, half the coalition fleet was gone. In the chaos, Elias's voice was calm. Cut comms to them entirely. Let them stew in the silence. Marin glanced up. Why? Because when they retreat, I want them wondering if we let them. The alien fleets broke. The survivors burned hard for deep space, leaving wreckage and drifting hulks behind. Elias watched them go, his expression unreadable. Don't pursue. Not yet. Marin frowned. We could finish them now. We could, Elias agreed. But if we do, the others will only send more. Better to let them tell the story, of how they walked into our space thinking we were prey, and how they left wondering if they'd ever truly seen our defenses at all. He turned from the display, already thinking about the next move. This wasn't the battle, he said quietly. This was the warning. The Calypso dawn drifted in the burnt glow of what used to be the Dathran Armada's forward position. All that remained were cold fragments, tumbling silently. Each shard reflected the starlight in a way that made it look like the wreckage was staring back, accusingly. Inside the command deck, Captain Marcus Vale sipped black coffee. The mug read, "Best mid-level manager in the Milky Way." He seemed relaxed, too relaxed for a man whose fleet had just erased an entire star sector from navigational charts. "Status?" he asked casually. Lieutenant Harron, a silver-eyed alien with thin, trembling fingers, glanced at the tactical display. "They're gone, sir. Not just destroyed. Their coordinates. They vanished from every stellar database. As if they never existed." Marcus set down his coffee. "Good. That's what they get for firing on Earth." His voice was steady, but there was weight in it, like steel wrapped in velvet. The bridge crew exchanged uneasy looks. They'd seen him like this only once before, during the Varus siege. That day, too, ended with an enemy civilization quietly erased. The surviving alien envoys were brought aboard, 3 different species, each carrying a different flavor of fear. Ambassador K.R.R. Locke, all tusks and ceremonial armor, tried to sound diplomatic. "This, erasure. It is a war crime in some jurisdictions." Marcus smiled politely. "So is firing on a civilian planet. Tell you what, we'll file our paperwork at the same time." The other ambassadors stayed quiet. The Kithari representative, whose people relied entirely on star charts for navigation, looked pale. She understood the deeper threat. This wasn't just military retaliation. It was cultural annihilation. Without their recorded coordinates, the Dathran homeworlds might as well be myths. In the observation lounge, Marcus activated a private feed. A holographic projection showed the quiet net, a secret human-built lattice embedded inside deep space communications. It pulsed faintly, rewriting every navigational beacon, altering archives, feeding false data to every charting AI in known space. Earth's enemies didn't just lose the battle. They lost their place in the galaxy. Commander Arya Chan entered, her boots silent on the deck. "It's done," she said. "No one will find them again, not even by accident." Marcus nodded. "Good. The galaxy forgets quicker than it forgives." She hesitated. "What if someone pieces it together? Notices the pattern? Then they'll realize the truth," Marcus replied. "That humanity doesn't just defend itself. We edit the game." Hours later, the galactic media began reporting the mysterious disappearance of the Dathran sector. Officials called it a stellar mapping glitch. Scientists blamed gravitational anomalies. A few conspiracy channels dared whisper the phrase human cartographic blackout. Those channels went offline within the hour. On the Calypso dawn, the crew gathered in the mess hall. Jokes were passed around. Coffee mugs clinked. You wouldn't think they just carried out an act of quiet galactic terror. An alien technician broke the mood. "You didn't just destroy them. You removed them from memory." "Why?" Marcus answered from across the room, his tone conversational. "Because destruction is loud. But forgetting, that's permanent." The next day, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. Every delegate danced around the subject, terrified to speak the accusation out loud. The absence of a name was its own kind of weapon. No one wanted to be the first to mention the fleet that no longer had coordinates. Marcus attended via secure hololink, sipping coffee the entire time. His only statement was brief. "Earth considers this matter closed." That phrase echoed through the council chambers. Not because it was official, but because everyone understood the subtext. Closed meant unrecoverable. Closed meant don't dig. Closed meant we can do this to you too. On the return route to Seoul, Arya found Marcus alone in the viewing gallery, watching the black void slip past. "You planned this from the start," she said. It wasn't a question. Marcus didn't look away from the stars. "The Dathran fired first. We just made sure they'd be the last." She studied him. "We could have just destroyed their fleet. That would have sent the same message." "No," he said. "Destruction tells people you're dangerous. Erasure tells them you're inevitable." There was no humor in his voice now. The polite mask had dropped, and she saw the predator underneath. In the far reaches of the galaxy, traders whispered of ghost coordinates. Star maps that led nowhere. Systems that once existed but had no record. The rumors all ended the same way. Don't cross Earth. They don't just kill you. They delete you. Final scene. The quiet threat. Back in the Sol system, Marcus stepped off the shuttle onto Lunar Command. He was greeted by Admiral Kaito, who gave a sharp salute. "The Council is unsettled," the Admiral said. Marcus allowed himself a faint smile. "Good. Fear is easier to maintain than trust." As they walked, a junior officer approached, handing Marcus a sealed data slate. "Sir, there's chatter about another fleet mobilizing near the Orion Spur. Should I prepare your orders?" Marcus tapped the slate against his palm thoughtfully. "Not yet. Let them make the first move. And if they do?" He smiled, a smile so perfectly polite it was almost warm. "Then we'll make sure their stars go missing, too."